You ever been used? I mean, really used? Where someone or something comes into your life, takes what it wants, and leaves you standing there with nothing but the echo of their footsteps? Let me tell you something about that feeling. It's painful. It can break you if you let it. But I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to. Now listen closely, because this is where the lesson comes in. You've got to be careful about who you let in your life, and you've got to be even more careful about what you allow them to take. There's a lot of people out there with their hands out, looking to get something from you. They'll smile in your face, talk a good game, make you feel like you're the only one in the room, but when it's all said and done, you're left with empty pockets and an even emptier heart. But let me tell you this, there's power in recognizing that. There's power in understanding that you were used, because once you see it, you can do something about it. You don't have to stay in that place of being taken advantage of. You don't have to allow people to walk all over you. You've got to have the strength to stand up, look them in the eye, and say, "You're not going to do that to me anymore." Because here's the thing, when someone uses you, they're not just taking from you. They're testing you. They're trying to see how much they can get away with. And when you let them, when you give them more than what you should, you're telling them that it's okay to keep coming back for more. But when you stand tall, when you set your boundaries, when you say enough is enough, you teach them something. They understand that they can do better. And when you take them on worthy of that time, they're celebrating it. You teach them respect. Let me tell you something, respect is earned, not given. And if someone disrespects you, it's because you allowed it. You're the one who let them get that close. You're the one who didn't speak up when you should have. But that's okay. Because right now, today, you have the power to change that. You have the power to look at the people who've taken from you, who've used you, and say, "This stops now. Polios seguirite." But that doesn't mean you have to be angry. No, no, no. It's not about being bitter or holding on to that hate. It's about learning from it. Because the truth is, there's something to be learned in every situation, no matter how bad it might seem. If you've been used, let it be a lesson in strength. Let it teach you to be smarter, sharper, and more aware. Because once you know your worth, once you realize the value of what you bring to the table, you don't settle for less. You don't settle for people who take without giving back. You don't settle for relationships that drain you instead of lifting you up. You don't settle for anything less than what you deserve. So I'm here to tell you today, don't let anyone use you. Don't let anyone make you feel small. You are not a doormat, and you are not here to serve someone else's selfish needs. You are here to live a life of purpose, to be the best version of yourself, to stand tall in the face of adversity. And when you recognize that someone's only around to take from you and not to give, it's time to let them go. And remember this, always. Your value doesn't come from what someone else takes from you. Your value comes from who you are and what you're willing to stand for. Never forget that. Never let anyone make you feel less than the powerful, incredible individual that you are. Because when you know your worth, nothing and no one can take that from you. Understand that when someone takes advantage of you, they're testing your boundaries and trying to get as much as they can without giving back. Don't allow people to walk all over you. Stand tall, assert yourself, and say, "Enough is enough," when it's needed. If you allow someone to disrespect you, it's because you haven't enforced your worth. Earn respect by knowing your value and not tolerating mistreatment. Every situation, even painful ones, offers a lesson. If you've been used, use it as an opportunity to grow stronger, smarter, and more aware of the people and situations around you. Your value is not defined by how much someone else takes from you. It's about who you are and what you stand for. Never let anyone make you feel less than the powerful individual you are. When you're being used, it's often subtle at first. The signs don't always hit you immediately, and sometimes you only notice when it's too late. People who take advantage of you don't always do it with malicious intent. Sometimes they're just focused on their own needs and don't consider the toll it's taking on you. At first, it might seem like a small request, something you're willing to give because you care. But then it becomes a pattern, and little by little, they start expecting more. They take, but they don't give back. They leave you feeling drained, and you might even begin questioning your own self-worth. What you need to understand is that when someone is using you, they're not thinking about your needs or your feelings. They're thinking about what they can get. The hard part is that they might be good at disguising it. They'll make you feel needed, wanted, or appreciated, all while continuing to take without ever offering anything in return. This is where the danger lies. When you let it slide, when you keep giving, because you don't want to rock the boat, you're letting them cross the line, and every time you let it happen, they see how much they can push you. The longer you stay in this situation, the harder it becomes to recognize the signs. But deep down, you know it's happening. Listen to that gut feeling. If you're consistently giving and never getting anything in return, something's wrong. It's time to take a step back and assess the situation. When you're in a situation where someone is using you, it can be hard to see it at first. People are good at hiding their true intentions, and sometimes you might even convince yourself that you're just helping them or being kind. But eventually you'll start to feel it, the drain, the imbalance, the way they take from you without giving anything in return. That's when you need to pay attention. The first step is recognizing it for what it is. It's not about being paranoid or overly sensitive. It's about being aware of the dynamic at play. You need to see the signs, the constant requests without any reciprocity, the empty promises, the way they take without considering your needs. It's important to trust your instincts in those moments. You feel that nagging sense that something's off, it's there for a reason. Take a step back, analyze the situation, and acknowledge what's happening. Are you being valued, or are you just a means to an end for someone else? Recognizing when you're being used is the first step to reclaiming your power. Once you see it, you can decide how to move forward. You can stop allowing others to take advantage of your generosity, and you can protect your energy. Trust yourself, and never ignore those subtle signs that someone might be using you for their own benefit. Respect isn't something you automatically get just because you exist. It's something that has to be earned through your actions, your words, and your character. Too often, people think respect is a given, especially if they've done something for you or they're close to you in some way. But the truth is, respect comes from consistency, integrity, and how you treat others. You can't demand respect by force or manipulate someone into giving it to you. You earn it by showing up, by being dependable, and by being honest. If you've got someone in your life who constantly takes advantage of you, yet expects respect from you, you have to challenge that notion. Respect is a two-way street. It doesn't matter how much someone tries to charm you or make you feel like they deserve your respect, they have to prove it, not just talk about it. When people use you, when they take from you without considering your worth, they're not respecting you, and it's up to you to realize that and refuse to tolerate it. Don't give away respect just because someone says they deserve it. They have to show it. The more you understand this, the less likely you'll be to give your time or energy to those who don't treat you with the same level of respect you give them. Respect is earned, and it's earned through consistent actions that reflect your worth. Every time you find yourself being used, it can feel like a blow to your pride. It stings. You might feel betrayed or even foolish for not seeing it sooner. But here's the thing. Every experience, especially the painful ones, carries a lesson. If you've been taken advantage of, don't just focus on the hurt. Instead, look deeper and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Maybe it's about recognizing the warning signs earlier next time. Maybe it's about being more selective with your trust. Or maybe it's about understanding what kind of boundaries you need to set in order to protect your peace. No experience is wasted if you choose to learn from it. When you get burned, the key is not to dwell on the fire, but to figure out how to avoid getting burned again. Life is full of ups and downs, but the value is in how you adapt, how you grow, and how you use those lessons to become stronger. The pain of being used shouldn't define you. It should refine you. Let it teach you resilience. Let it teach you wisdom. And let it teach you how to recognize your worth so you don't make the same mistakes in the future. If you learn from the experience, you'll walk away from it not just smarter, but better equipped for the next chapter of your life. Knowing your worth is the foundation of every decision you make and every relationship you form. Too often we get caught up in what others think about us, or we start defining ourselves by what we can do for others. But here's the truth. Your value isn't tied to how much you give, how much you sacrifice, or how many people you try to please. Your worth is intrinsic. It comes from who you are, not what you can provide. When you understand this, it changes everything. You stop letting people take advantage of you because you realize you're not just some commodity for others to use. You recognize that your time, energy, and love are precious, and they deserve to be treated with respect. Once you know your worth, you stop settling for relationships or situations that don't align with the respect you've earned. You stop tolerating disrespect or being used because you know you're better than that. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself to anyone who can't see your value. Instead, you focus on the people who do appreciate you for who you truly are. Your worth isn't up for negotiation. It's something you decide. And once you've fully embraced it, you'll find that the right people and opportunities start to show up in your life, because when you know your worth, you attract what reflects that.